Up until I was about the age of 50, I consciously sometimes would think about the fact that I really had never faced major adversity in my life. Um, I lost a mother, like many of us do. Um, and I had my issues when I was young, like most of us do. But it wasn't until I hit age 50 that life really decided to hand me some serious adversity. And within the course of the last 4 years, um, I have lost a marriage that I never thought I would lose. Um, in the course of 18 months, I was laid off twice. And both times, I happened to be the primary, really the only income earner in our household. And I, at one point, was delivering food as a career executive. Never thought I would be having to do that. But when life puts you in certain situations, you do what you have to do. Um, and then this past September, I lost one of my best friends, my younger sister, my only sibling, to complications from a kidney disease. She was only 50 years old. And I'm still grieving over that. As you can tell, I'm getting choked up now just talking about it. Her name was Jody, and she was a much better person than I am. She was incredible. Maybe I'll do a video on her sometime. But in the last 4 years, I've faced adversity that I wouldn't wish on anyone. And honestly, I get so tired of seeing all this stuff, these YouTube videos and things on social media that are about motivation. And I get caught up in it a lot. Like, oh, I can just out motivate myself, or I can out motivate this bad situation, and I can pump myself up and I can get through it. But sometimes in life, you just can't be motivated. And you go to some really, really tough, dark places that make you question a lot of things. So in this video, I want to kind of share that story. And I want to share with you a few things that I never really thought I'd have to lean on so heavily to really, quite honestly, survive and to begin to forge some sense of resilience and get back to a life that I was happy to be living. Hey, everybody, this is Chuck with Midlife Resilience, and I'm so happy you're here. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If this is the first video you've seen, please be sure to go back and watch the first couple videos where I really kind of lay out the plan and the vision for this channel. Be sure to subscribe and like. That really helps the YouTube algorithm find other people out there that need to join this community to become a part of it and to get the help that they probably need. You notice my background's a little bit different tonight. This just felt like more of an intimate conversation, and sitting at the desk and talking to the camera just didn't seem like the right vibe, I guess. So I'm sitting at my kitchen table and having a conversation with a good friend. So thank you for being here. So when these things started happening, I think like a lot of people, I kind of retreated. And, I think a lot of our natural response to these kind of things is to become a lone wolf, so to speak. I didn't want to talk to people about what I was going through. I was in shock for all of these situations. I'm still kind of, even my sister's passing, I'm still kind of processing. And some days it honestly doesn't feel real, even though I know it is. And so there's this inclination in us to think that we can go it alone, or we can out tough it somehow. But I realized really early on that I couldn't do this by myself. And I think sometimes life just forces you, and I don't want to say us men especially, but I think for a lot of men, but I think a lot of women too, um, it's an ego thing, right? We think that we're unstoppable and we think that we're stronger than the situation that may be happening. But we're not. We're all human, and we all have wants, needs, desires, emotions. And so that lone wolf mentality really doesn't fly. And I think the beauty of being in the middle of your life is you realize that, and you're smart enough and you're wise enough and you have enough experience to realize that. For me, I see it as a blessing that I still had small children. Um, and I have grown children too, from my first marriage. And so for me, they became my why. I mean, there were so many days with all of this adversity that I didn't want to get out of bed. I didn't want to go look for a new job. I didn't want to sign up for therapy because I'm too proud or whatever the case was. But then I would look at my youngest son, and I would realize that that wasn't an option for me. My only option was to get through this and to keep going, and not only keep going, but to show them how you handle things when life happens, to model it for them. And so I made a conscious decision in my mind to use these situations of adversity to teach them and to model for them and to show them that, you know what, dad is not Superman. Dad is human, but he also is strong enough to ask for help and to lean on people when he needs to. So the three lifelines is what I'll call them that can literally save your life and pull you out of the dark and back towards the light. I was so fortunate that I have two incredible friends who are more like brothers to me. We've been friends for almost 40 years, and they were my first phone calls. In each of these situations, um, I would cry my eyes out to both of them, and they would just listen. They went and tried to solve it. They they would offer some encouragement or some support, but it was just knowing that they were there when the very ground beneath my feet seemed to move and things seemed so uncertain. Everything that I thought I believed in different areas of my life, I began to question. But those two were a constant. They would call me or text me daily. And I don't think I could ever repay them for what they gave to me. So, my encouragement to you, my advice here is let your guard down, be real. People appreciate vulnerability. It's the thing that I think makes us all human. We're not perfect, and in today's world with social media, everybody's trying to show themselves as being some version of themselves that's not real, and like they have it all figured out, and it's such crap. Nobody has it figured out. um, my friendship, my brotherhood with these two men has become even closer and stronger, um, than it ever was, because they've seen me at my lowest. They know the valley that I've walked through. And so, yeah, so it doesn't have to be people you've been friends with for 40 years. Maybe there's a pastor at your church, or Maybe you're close with one of your in-laws. Maybe it's just a friend that you know. But I encourage you to find that person or persons, and you probably are thinking right now of who they are, and just share your burden. And then you'll be surprised how quickly people will help you carry it. All right, so the second lifeline that I want to talk about is kind of, I guess we call it the shared experience. Now, in each of these situations that I've been through, um, I've had the good fortune of finding this online group on Facebook that was relevant to my situation. These were complete strangers around the world that were going through things that were very similar to my experience. And early on, I was so desperate to find answers and to try to make sense. Our brains, our human minds want to try to make sense of things when things don't seem like they make sense. And so I just hopped on Facebook late one night, feeling desperate, and I found this group. And for the last 3.5 years or so, they've been a lifeline. They've been a constant, steady presence in my life. I've gotten to be good friends with quite a few of the people in there. I know a lot of you are probably watching this video right now. And it's just a testament to the fact that there are people out there. The two men that I referred to a moment ago, as wonderful as they are, they weren't walking similar paths that I was walking. So as much as they wanted to relate to me and as great as they were, there were limits to how much they could truly understand what I was feeling or what I was experiencing. And so my advice and my encouragement is search for those other tribes. And it's so easy to do nowadays with social media and the internet. Um, Once you find that right tribe, you'll know, and make yourself a part of that community. Don't just take. You want to give back, offer your insights, and you're going to be amazed at how therapeutic and how beneficial that can be. Now, the third lifeline, and this is something that many of us have a hard time doing, but that is therapy. And I was at such a low point a few years ago that I just checked my ego at the door, and I had no shame, and I just needed help. And again, my children are my why. And I chose in my mind to turn the situation in terms of looking at it now as getting that professional help is the ultimate form of taking care of my family and my children, because I don't want them to ever think that I didn't do everything possible to be the best version of myself that I can be. Therapy was a mixed bag. I think it's, you get out of it what you put into it. I tried to put a lot into it. I went through a couple of therapists. This was all virtual and online. I don't know how much that played into it. I wound up finding one that I really, really liked, and she was a tremendous help, mainly because she just made me think of things in a different way. She would kind of offer some insights that, I don't know, just made me think of things differently. And I just felt better, quite honestly. It's as simple as that. I mean, I would get off those calls or sessions and I would just feel a weight off of me. I remember the second time I lost my job in that 18-month span, I questioned the universe, like, what are you doing? I'd had a really successful career up until then. And all of a sudden it was like, bam, bam, it had me questioning myself, my ability, my talent. And having an objective viewpoint, somebody who's not related to you or you haven't been best friends with forever, hearing it from somebody who can give you a professional sounding board and a mirror of sorts, I think just is tremendous. So if you haven't, for some reason, I would do therapy even if you don't feel like you're in need of it. In terms of building resilience, though, I think it's a must. I mean, I think for us to be the best versions of ourselves that we can in the middle of our life, you really need that partner, that professional partner to help you, just, to guide you and to help you figure things out. So highly recommend therapy. I guess I really haven't mentioned it, but this whole video is tying back to the pillar around relational depth and just how critical that is to building our resilience. And so my encouragement to you is whatever adversity or transition you're facing in life, whatever that looks like, don't try and go it alone. Don't stuff it down and think, I got this and I can do it. That's next to impossible. It may feel like you're doing it for a little bit, but it's going to show up in other ways. It's going to manifest in terms of your mood or your productivity at work or just your general outlook on things. I've always said that in the middle of our lives, I've started seeing the rest of my life as like this hourglass where sand is kind of going through, and we only have so much sand left until our life is over. And this is the only life we get, right? So I challenge you as a middle life person, it's not the right way to say it, but take all the experience and all the wisdom that you've earned and you've bled and fought and suffered for. Take all of that and sharpen it, use it. It can become fuel for powering you through the rest of your life in a beautiful way. It's the whole make lemonade out of lemons theory, right? But, I just hope that you don't ever get to places like the places I feel like I've been in the last few years. And that's not a woe is me sentiment. It's life, and stuff happens, right? And like I always tell my kids, it's not what happens to you, it's how you handle it. And but sometimes I believe there is toxic positivity out there where the world wants you just to, get motivated and get positive and things are going to be okay. And sometimes you just don't feel like they are. But resilience can definitely help you fortify yourself. And so, yeah, again, I would encourage you, if this video has helped you, I would encourage you to subscribe and to follow, to like, to do all those things. I'll be dropping the next video next Sunday. Probably be back over the desk next time. But again, thank you. And remember, resilience is not something that anyone is born with. It's something we all have to work on every single day.